You can eat one meal a day and still train your body to hold on to fat. That sounds wrong, because OMAD is supposed to be the disciplined choice. You're not grazing, you're not snacking, you're not casually wandering into the kitchen every hour. So when your belly grows softer, instead of smaller, it feels like your body is breaking the rules. And that frustration hits even harder when the meal is healthy. Not pizza, not soda, not a pile of processed food pretending to be dinner. Maybe it's salmon, eggs, avocado, vegetables, olive oil, Greek yogurt, nuts, fruit, or rice. You look at the plate and think, how could this possibly be the problem? But here's the counterintuitive part. The problem may not be the food by itself. It may be the biological state your body is in when that food finally arrives. A long fast can lower insulin, but it can also expose stress, poor sleep, low movement, and hidden compensation. And when those signals stack together, the body may enter the meal prepared to store, not release. Your metabolism is not judging your routine like a person looking at a meal plan. If those messages are chaotic, one clean meal can land like a flood in a system already under pressure. That is why two people can eat once a day and get completely different results. One person feels lighter, clearer, and more in control. Another feels bloated, tired, wired at night, hungrier after dinner, and confused by a waistline that keeps expanding. Same eating pattern, different internal signal. The reward for understanding this is huge, because it means your body may not be betraying you. It may be responding exactly the way it was designed to respond when food, stress, movement, and sleep send mixed instructions. Once you understand those instructions, you can begin to change the message without turning your life into a punishment. You'll see why fasting all day can accidentally make you burn less. Why stress before your meal changes what happens after your meal. Why clean foods can still become a dense storage signal when squeezed into one sitting. And why muscle may be the missing destination that decides whether your meal refills you or overflows into fat. So before blaming your willpower, your age, or your metabolism, look at the sequence. The body is not just reacting to the one meal. It is reacting to the entire day that came before it. And the first clue begins with a healthy OMAD routine that looks perfect while the body quietly moves in the wrong direction. You can eat one clean meal a day and still watch your waist move in the wrong direction. That's the part that feels almost insulting, because nothing about your routine looks careless. But deep inside the body, discipline is not the language your metabolism is listening for. Most people assume OMAD works like a simple switch. So, when the scale creeps up, they blame themselves as if they secretly failed somewhere. Maybe the avocado was too big. Maybe the rice was too much. Maybe the body is just stubborn. But the real mistake is believing the body rewards a routine because it looks healthy from the outside. Your metabolism responds to signals, not appearances. It reads energy availability, insulin demand, stress level, sleep quality, muscle activity, and meal size. If those signals say, we are safe, nourished, active, and calm, the body can release stored energy more easily. If they say, we are stressed, underfueled, overloaded, and barely moving, the body may protect fat instead. Think of OMAD like turning up the volume on a speaker. If the music is clear, everything sounds powerful, focused, and clean. But if the signal is full of static, turning up the volume doesn't fix it. It makes the static louder, sharper, and harder to ignore. Imagine someone who eats salmon, eggs, olive oil, greens, berries, and Greek yogurt in one beautiful evening meal. On paper, it looks like the kind of plate a nutrition coach would proudly post online. But all day, they sat at a desk, pushed through hunger with coffee, slept poorly, and arrived at dinner tense. Now that healthy meal lands in a body that has been running like an alarm system since morning. The first shift is simple but powerful. Stop judging OMAD only by the meal. Look at the entire day that leads up to it. Keep gentle movement alive with short walks, standing breaks, light chores, sunlight, water, and minerals. Then build the meal-like structure, not like a reward for surviving the fast. This is the rare piece most people miss. The one meal is not just food. It is a message arriving after hours of silence. If the body spent that silence calm, mobile, hydrated, and well-rested, the message can feel like restoration. If the body spent that silence stressed, the better question is, what signals did my body receive before that meal ever showed up? Because the first problem often starts long before the fork hits the plate. And it begins with something so quiet. Most people never notice they're doing it all day. This is where OMAD can become sneaky. You may spend the whole day thinking, I barely ate, so my body must be burning fat. But your metabolism may be doing something quieter, colder, and much harder to notice. It may be lowering the amount of energy you spend before you ever reach the meal. The common belief is that fasting automatically creates a bigger fat-burning gap. No breakfast, no lunch, no snacks, so the math should be obvious. But your body is not a calculator sitting politely on a desk. It is a survival machine that watches energy coming in and adjusts energy going out. When the body senses a long stretch without incoming fuel, some people unconsciously downshift. They walk less, sit longer, move slower, fidget less, and stop taking the stairs without realizing it. Training may feel heavier, conversations may feel draining, and small chores suddenly seem optional. That drop in daily movement can quietly shrink the energy gap the fast was supposed to create. Picture your metabolism like a house trying to save electricity during a power shortage. The lights don't shut off all at once. First, the hallway dims, then the heater runs lower, then the little appliances stop humming. From the outside, the house still looks normal, but inside, everything is running on economy mode. Maybe you skip breakfast, drink black coffee, and feel proud because the fast is clean. But then you park closer, skip the afternoon walk, sit through lunch, and avoid your usual workout. By evening, you have technically eaten less often, but the fast didn't fail because you lacked discipline. The body simply protected its battery. The practical fix is to track the fasting day, not just the eating window. Add a 10-minute walk in the morning, a 5-minute standing break every hour, and light movement after work. Do chores, take calls while walking, use stairs when it feels reasonable, and keep the pace easy. The goal is not to punish the body. It is to remind it that life is still safe and active. Here's the deeper insight. Fat loss is not only about eating less food. It is about keeping the body willing to spend energy while food is temporarily absent. Low-stress movement tells the muscles, keep the doors open, keep using fuel. Without that signal, the body may protect fat while quietly trimming movement from the budget. And this is where the usual advice starts to fall apart. Because even if you keep walking, standing, and moving gently through the fast, another problem can appear. A long day without food can push the body into a tense hormonal state before dinner arrives. So by the time you finally eat, the body may not be calm and ready. It may be bracing. This is the part most people completely miss. Your one meal does not enter a neutral body. It enters the body you have been building all day through sleep, stress, caffeine, movement, and hunger. And sometimes, that body is not ready to digest. It is ready to defend. The common mistake is thinking the food is the only thing that matters. So you make the meal clean, balanced, colorful, and full of ingredients you trust. But if you arrive at that plate wired, exhausted, over-caffeinated, and tense, the chemistry has already shifted. The body does not say, wonderful, salmon and vegetables. It says, why are we eating during an emergency? During fasting, cortisol helps keep your blood sugar stable. That is not bad by itself. Cortisol tells the liver to release glucose. But when poor sleep, deadlines, hard training, and too much coffee keep cortisol high, the liver keeps sending glucose out. Then dinner arrives on top of a bloodstream that may already be fueled for a fight that never happened. Picture your nervous system like a control panel with two big settings. One setting says, rest, digest, absorb, repair. The other says, brace, mobilize fuel, tighten up, survive the next few minutes. If that second switch is still glowing red, even a healthy meal can land like a delivery truck at a locked warehouse. Maybe you wake after 5 hours of sleep, skip breakfast, and use coffee to push through the morning. By afternoon, your jaw is tight, your hands are cold, your inbox is on fire, and hunger feels sharp instead of calm. Then you finally sit down to a huge healthy dinner and wonder why you feel bloated, sleepy, wired, or pulled towards sweets later. That is not always weakness. It can be a stressed system, trying to process abundance while still wearing armor. The practical move is to prepare the body before the meal, not just prepare the meal itself. Drink water, add minerals if you tolerate them, take a gentle 10-minute walk, and slow your breathing before eating. Keep caffeine earlier in the day when possible. Avoid turning fasting into a stimulant contest, and protect sleep like part of the plan. Even 3 slow exhales before the first bite can tell the nervous system the threat is over. Digestion can begin. Here's the deeper insight. Digestion is not just mechanical. It is neurological. Your stomach acid, gut movement, enzyme release, and blood flow are all influenced by the state of your nervous system. When stress chemistry stays high, blood flow shifts away from the gut and toward the muscles because survival comes first. So the meal may be healthy, but the internal traffic pattern is wrong for absorbing it smoothly. And this is where the next trap becomes frustrating. Because even if you calm the body before eating, hydrate properly, and stop treating coffee like a personality trait, there is still another problem. The meal itself can be built from clean foods and still act like a massive storage signal. Not because the foods are bad, but because compression changes everything. This is where OMAD can fool even the healthiest person in the room. You may not be eating cookies, chips, fast food, or late-night takeout. Your plate may be full of foods that genuinely, but when all of that energy is compressed into one sitting, the body sees something more powerful than clean. The misunderstanding is believing healthy food cannot create a storage problem. So the meal grows quietly: extra olive oil, a handful of nuts, half an avocado, rice, granola, sauce, maybe a smoothie. Each choice feels reasonable because none of it looks like junk. But biology does not give calories a free pass because they arrived wearing a wellness label. After a long fast, the body is sensitive, hungry, and ready to absorb. Carbohydrates turn into glucose, proteins bring amino acids, and fats deliver concentrated energy with very little volume. Insulin rises to move nutrients into cells, but if the meal delivers more energy than your muscles and liver can store, overflow begins. The body does not throw that energy away. It packages it, stores it, and saves it for later. Think of your muscles and liver like a few kitchen drawers with limited space. After fasting, those drawers may be partly empty, so the first nutrients fit beautifully. But if you keep stuffing in containers, maybe your OMAD plate has steak, sweet potatoes, greens, olive oil, nuts, avocado, berries, yogurt, and a healthy dessert. Nothing on that list is evil, and some of it may be excellent in the right amount. But together, after a day of hunger, it can become a giant healthy feast that overwhelms the system. Then you feel confused because you ate clean, yet your belly feels fuller and your clothes feel tighter. The practical fix is meal architecture. Start with protein first, like eggs, salmon, chicken, lean beef, Greek yogurt, tofu, or legumes. Then add high-volume plants, such as leafy greens, broccoli, zucchini, cabbage, peppers, mushrooms, or berries. After that, choose intentional portions of starches and fats instead of letting fasting hunger design the whole plate. A single meal can still raise insulin, stretch digestion, overload energy storage, and keep blood sugar elevated longer than expected. And if that meal is very high in both fats and starches, it can be especially easy to overshoot without feeling reckless. Your mouth experiences a healthy dinner, but your metabolism experiences a large delivery it must sort quickly. But fat gain is not only about how much energy enters the bloodstream. The next question is even more important. Where can that energy go once it gets there? Because the same exact meal can behave differently in a body that uses its muscles often. And that is where OMAD can shift from storage pressure into a system that actually knows what to do with the fuel. This is where the whole mystery starts to change. The same one meal that makes one person store fat can help another person feel leaner, stronger, and calmer. The difference is not magic, genetics, or some secret supplement hiding in a kitchen cabinet. The difference is whether the body has somewhere useful to send the nutrients when they arrive. Most people think fat gain during OMAD means they should eat even less. So they tighten the routine, stretch the fast longer, shrink the meal, and push harder. But if eating less makes you tired, and eating enough makes you gain, the question is not only, how much did I eat? It is, what was my body prepared to use? Muscle is one of the biggest destinations for incoming glucose and amino acids. When muscles contract, train, and repair, they become hungry storage sites for fuel and building blocks. Glucose can refill muscle glycogen, amino acids can support repair, and insulin can act more like a... But when muscle demand is low, the same meal has fewer open doors, so overflow becomes more likely. Think of your muscles like a city full of empty parking spaces. After walking, lifting, climbing stairs, or doing physical work, those spaces open up and traffic can flow in smoothly. But if the city has been closed all day, cars circle the block, streets jam up, and the overflow gets redirected. In the body, that overflow may become stored energy, especially when the meal is dense and the day was inactive. Imagine someone fasting all day at a desk, barely moving, then eating a huge healthy dinner at night. Their muscles did not ask for much fuel, so the meal has limited places to go. Now imagine the same person takes easy walks during the day, strength trains 3 times a week, and walks 10 minutes after dinner. The meal has a job now. It is not just landing in the body, it is refilling a system that has been used. The practical strategy is to turn OMAD into a full-day metabolic setup. Move lightly during the fast, lift consistently, and take a relaxed 10 to 15-minute walk after the meal. Start the meal with protein, then add fiber-rich plants, minerals, and fluids before piling on starches and fats. Match carbohydrates and fats to your activity, so a hard training day does not get treated like a motionless couch day. Here's the deeper insight. The goal is not to force the body into constant restriction. The goal is to make the body feel safe enough, active enough, and nourished enough to spend energy well. Muscle gives incoming nutrients a purpose. Movement keeps metabolic doors responsive, and sleep lowers the alarm signal overnight. That is how one meal becomes restoration instead of a storage event. Once you see this, fat gain during OMAD stops looking like betrayal. It was not happening because you were unhealthy, lazy, or broken. It was happening because a healthy routine was sending the wrong sequence of signals. And when the sequence changes, the body can finally receive a very different message. If this felt familiar, the most important thing to understand is this. Your body was never ignoring you. It was listening very carefully. It was listening to your fast, your stress, your sleep, your movement. And when those signals were mixed, your metabolism answered in the only language it knows. OMAD is not a magic spell, and it is not a punishment. It is a magnifier. When the body feels calm, active, nourished, and prepared, one meal can support control and clarity. But when the body feels stressed, underused, sleep-deprived, and overloaded, that same meal can push towards storage. It means the solution is not to hate your body or keep shrinking your life. It is to change the signals surrounding the meal. Walk during the fasting window, protect your sleep, calm your nervous system before eating, and build the meal with structure. Then let protein, fiber, minerals, movement, and muscle demand tell the body, this fuel has somewhere useful to go. For many healthy adults, this can make OMAD feel completely different. Not like dragging yourself through the day and collapsing into dinner, but like moving through the day with steady energy, then eating in a body ready to receive, rebuild, and refuel. And if you have diabetes, take medication, are pregnant, nursing, or have a history of eating disorders, get qualified guidance before major fasting changes. So ask yourself honestly, which signal has your body been receiving the most? A calm signal, an active signal, a nourished signal, or a stressed signal, a low movement signal, a late night overload signal? That question may explain more about your fat gain than the number of meals you eat. And here's another question worth sitting with. Have you been fighting your body when what it really needed was a different message? Maybe the first experiment is a 10-minute walk after your meal. Maybe it is better sleep, less late caffeine, more protein, or simply not turning one healthy meal into a hidden feast. Pick one signal and test it. Do not try to fix everything in one dramatic week. Your metabolism learns through repetition, not panic. Small daily messages, repeated long enough, can become the new rhythm your body starts to trust. If this helped you understand your body in a way that finally makes sense, subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications, because the next lessons will keep connecting these hidden biological patterns. Your body is not broken. Change the message, and you change the story your body is trying to tell. If you feel like your body is constantly stuck in alert mode, with poor sleep, fatigue, untimely hunger, and stubborn abdominal fat, I've prepared the complete Cortisol Reset bundle. Inside, you'll receive the main guide, the Cortisol Reset, plus 2 bonuses, low nighttime cortisol protocol and cortisol, insulin, and abdominal fat. The link is in the description.